Yo, welcome back to my channel. If you're on our channel called Live React to Things Daily. It's my second video for today. I think I can post 2 videos for y'all today. I'm gonna post around probably like 3 and like 9. So I think I can get 2 out for y'all a day now. You feel me? Because it's kind of easier to just post videos and before I go to work. Alright, but today we got a video. How did ancient humans kill boredom? So if you're new, make sure you subscribe, leave a like, and comment something. And let me know. How do y'all think ancient humans killed boredom? But let's get right to the video.
You have 47 apps on your phone, a streaming service with 10,000 things to watch, a podcast for every topic that has ever existed,
Right.
and somehow you still
get
get bored.
I was talking about somebody about this the other day. How you can learn anything on the internet. You ain't really got to go to school anymore. Like, realistically, when's the last time you learned something in school that you couldn't search up on your phone? And right, he is right. I still get bored, and I got a phone right here.
So here's a question nobody thinks to ask. What did ancient humans do when they were bored? Not medieval humans, not ancient Romans, not even ancient Egyptians. We're going back further than that. 100,000 years, 200,000 years. Back when there was no writing, no art, no music, no language as we know it. Just people, sitting there, with nothing to do. The answer changes everything we think we know about creativity, religion, and why your brain works the way it does. But first, did boredom even exist back then? This is actually a serious scientific debate. For a long time, researchers assumed our earliest ancestors were too busy surviving to get bored.
I was just gonna say
Every
that.
waking
I don't really think they was bored. I don't know, because they gotta survive. Like, you always gotta hunt, or you gotta build this type of shelter, or you gotta worry about this. They probably have to worry about that. So I don't know if they would. I don't know. I was just gonna say that. Could you really consider them bored because they was actively always trying to stay alive?
hour was hunting, foraging, building shelter. There was no downtime. But that assumption turned out to be wrong.
Really?
Very wrong. In 1966, anthropologist Marshall Salins published a paper that flipped everything.
Really?
He had spent years studying the Kung San people of the Kalahari Desert, one of the last groups on Earth still living something close to the original human lifestyle.
What's that? I reacted to another video of a tribe, and they live like this still. Like, they live no phones, nothing like that. They just live like this. So I don't think this is one of the last people to ever do it. But
What he found was this. They worked, on average, about 15 to 20 hours per week. That's it. Not per day, per week. The rest of the time, they rested, they talked, they sat, they did nothing in particular.
Wow.
Salins called them the original affluent society. Not because they had stuff, because they had time. More free time than most modern humans ever get. So the question isn't whether ancient humans got bored. The question is what happened when they did.
Right.
Let's start with the obvious one. They played. This sounds simple. It isn't. In 2010, archaeologist Francesco De Rico and his team studied a collection of shells found at a site in South Africa called Blombos Cave. The shells were 75,000 years old. They had holes drilled through them, and they were coated in red ochre.
How do they know this particular item was 75,000 years old, or I don't know. I just people be so interested in these old things, and they be so dedicated to find out what caused them to think like this, what caused them to think like that. I feel like that's so interesting, how people can just put their whole mind into figuring out how somebody else thinks. That is crazy to think about.
These weren't tools. They weren't weapons. They weren't food. They were beads.
Oh.
Someone had sat down 75,000 years ago with nothing better to do and made themselves jewelry. That's the oldest known art object in human history.
How much y'all think that cost today? 75,000-year-old piece of jewelry, right? Could probably arguably be the first piece of jewelry, right? How much y'all think this is worth today if they find it? Well, they have found it, right? I would say anywhere from 250 grand and up.
And it started with boredom. But here's what's really interesting. Making those beads would have taken hours,
Right.
maybe days. Drilling through a shell with a stone tool, without electricity, without metal, without patience built by a lifetime of entertainment. That is a long afternoon. And they did it anyway, because the alternative was staring at the wall of a cave. Necessity didn't invent art, boredom did. The same pattern shows up in music. In 2008, researchers excavating a cave in southern Germany found a flute. It was made from the bone of a vulture. It had 5 finger holes.
Wow.
It was
a flute made from the bone of a vulture. What I was gonna say, would y'all ever explore a cave? Because I feel like, bro, I didn't see too many movies. I ain't scared, but I done seen too many like crawl space movies where they get stuck in the cave because something like type of erosion or something like that, and is that in the third? But a flute made out of vulture bone is kind of insane, you know.
It's 40,000 years old.
Wow.
Someone 40,000 years ago,
Invented
before
music.
agriculture, before cities, before any civilization we would recognize, sat down and invented music.
Wow.
Not because they had to, because they had a free afternoon and a bird bone. And it turns out music is what the brain does when it has nothing else to process. Neuroscientist Daniel Levitin, who studies the origins of music, argues that musical ability is older than language. Our brains were wired for rhythm and melody before we could form complex sentences, because rhythm is pattern recognition.
I always thought about that. Like, I always think about like how there's so much different languages in the world, and like why don't we all just speak the same language? Like I know, like, you know, you feel me, but it's like, why don't we all just speak one language? Because, you feel me, like, you know, am I crazy for thinking that? Like, does somebody understand what I'm saying? Kind of, I don't know.
Pattern recognition kept us alive. But boredom didn't just invent art and music.
I was waiting for an answer, like I'm reading a chat or something like that. I don't know.
It invented something far more powerful. It invented imagination. Think about this. You cannot be bored without a concept of time.
Right.
To be bored, you have to know that this moment is lasting too long, that something else could be happening, that the future exists and it could be better than right now. Boredom is...
That's how it is right now. That's how it is for me. That's why I be bored. Like, when I go to work, I be so bored because I be like, even though like I try to live in the day, I be worried about the future. Like, I do not want to be doing this. I want to be doing this, interacting with y'all. You know what I'm saying? Like, making videos. But I be bored and be like, wow, like, how does he know that though? Like, how do he know? Like, you feel like, that's what I'm talking about. How do you know that about my brain? Like, this dude, man, but everybody else's brain, bro.
In a very real sense, the first sign that a brain has developed the ability to imagine things that don't exist yet.
Yeah, I think
Animals don't get bored the way humans do. A dog waiting for its owner isn't bored. It's just waiting. It doesn't have a concept of what else it could be doing. But a human sitting in a cave 100,000 years ago, staring at the fire, nothing to do, starts to think. What if the hunt goes wrong tomorrow? What if that sound outside is a predator? What's beyond that mountain? Where do we go when we die? Every question religion has ever asked. Every question philosophy has ever asked. Every question science is still trying to answer. All of them started the same way. Someone was bored, and their mind started wandering. In 2013, psychology...
Is it able, like, do anybody know it? Like, has anybody been able to stop their mind from wandering? Like, is there somebody in the world that may have been famous or something from, like, being able to stop their mind, like, came out and said, I can stop my mind from wandering late at night when I'm bored? Or not even late at night. Anytime I'm bored, can I just stop my mind from wondering whenever? Because it's impossible, bro, to stop your mind from wondering about a million things.
Sandy Mann published research showing that boredom significantly increases creative output. She had people perform the most boring tasks she could devise, copying numbers from a phone book, and then tested their creativity immediately afterward. The bored group dramatically outperformed everyone else, because boredom forces the brain to generate its own stimulation.
Just like, if you sit in an office all day, right? Let's say you got an office job and you sit in an office, you gonna, like, and say you got a cooler, man, you gonna come up with so much ideas and designs while you just sitting at this office. Because I did this while I'm at work, and I don't have an office job, but I'm just walking around and doing things. Cause I'll be selecting and be thinking like, well, I'm gonna do this or I'm gonna do that when I get home. I'm gonna create this design, that design, that design. And everything he's talking about is totally correct. It even relates to the modern world, so I can see why everything is just similar.
And the brain, when left to its own devices, is extraordinary. But there's one more thing ancient humans did when they were bored, and it's the one that mattered most. They talked. Not about hunting, not about food, not about logistics. They told stories.
Wow.
Anthropologist Robin Dunbar, the same researcher who discovered that human social groups naturally cap at around 150 people, spent years studying what humans talk about when they're not talking about anything important. His finding? Roughly 65% of all human conversation is social gossip. Who did what? Who said what? What happened to someone you both know?
This went up now from 65%.
This sounds like a waste of time. It wasn't. Dunbar argues that language itself evolved not for practical communication, but for social bonding. Before language, primates bonded by grooming each other, physically. But grooming takes time. It's one-to-one. You can only groom one friend at a time. Language replaced grooming. Now you could bond with 3 people at once, 10, a whole group around a fire. You could tell a story about someone who wasn't even there. You could build trust with people you'd never touched. Language, and therefore human civilization, didn't emerge because we needed to coordinate hunts. It emerged because we were sitting around with nothing to do, and we started talking about each other. Boredom invented gossip, and gossip invented society. So here's where we've ended up. 75,000 years ago, someone bored in a cave made a bead. 40,000 years ago, someone bored in a different cave made a flute. And somewhere in between, people sitting around fires with nothing to do started asking questions no one had answers to. About death, about the sky, about why things are the way they are. And some of those questions became religion. Some of them became science. Some of them became art. Some of them became you, lying awake at 2 a.m. with your phone on your chest, thinking about nothing in particular. Here's the part nobody talks about. Modern psychology has a term for what happens when you eliminate boredom completely.
Y'all love to learn? I love to learn new things. Like, I don't know. I'm so open to learning new things.
They call it cognitive overload. When every moment is stimulated, the brain never gets the chance to do what it was built to do in the quiet moments.
So you
process, consolidate.
Is that why people can't sleep? Wow, Is that why people can't sleep? Because when you do so much during the day, when you finally laying down, your brain gets to process, consolidate, and create, so you can't fall asleep.
Create. The default mode network, the part of your brain that activates when you're doing nothing, is the same network responsible for creativity, self-reflection, and empathy. It only turns on when you're bored. We spent 300,000 years learning to fill silence with something meaningful. Then we invented the smartphone, and we've been filling silence
smartphones. I don't know who did that.
Ever since. But every time you put the phone down and sit with nothing for a moment, every time your mind starts to wander and you let it, you're doing the same thing the person in the cave was doing, the same thing that made the bead, the same thing that made the flute, the same thing that looked up at the stars and started asking why. Boredom didn't hold ancient humans back. It's what made them human, and it might be doing the same thing for you, if you let it.
Wow. That W video. Man, y'all, I just love to learn. But I'm gonna leave the original link down to the video so y'all won't have me talk if y'all wanna go watch it. But hey, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Until next time.